Come to me, mighty god killer.
Today we have another voice actor interview, and we're joined today by.
Hi guys, my name is Amanda Rischel, and I'm a voice actor, probably most well known for playing Cartethyia and Fleurdelys in the English version of Wuthering Waves, but you might also know me from things like Stranova or Diablo or even Genotype if you're into VR.
Nice. Yes, yes. Amanda, it's so nice to finally meet you.
And you.
Yeah.
We've been
They
talking about doing this for a while.
yeah, we have. Yeah, it's been a few months and then, things got a little, pushed back and stuff, but we're
Yeah.
finally here, like towards
Yes.
like the
Very
end,
excited.
right? Yeah, yeah, right after like 2.4 and stuff. I think it's good this way too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Amanda, I had so many questions to ask you and stuff. Like, like this game, like after you were cast, like what has it been like for you? Like the public reception and just like your life maybe after this game.
Yeah, it has changed for sure. Like the public
Mm.
reception has been really overwhelmingly positive, and I think this is, I've been acting for a while, and I've even been in voice
Oh.
acting for a while,
Mm.
but this is the first time, Wuthering Waves was the first time that anyone actually really paid attention to who I was, and my name sort of got, put out there on the internet. Like I've never done anything before where anyone was really speculating about who's the voice or wanted to get to know me. So this has definitely been a change. Like I feel like this is, objectively my breakout role, if you will, the one that has made me, some kind of mainstream, well known in that
Yes.
community. So that's a big difference. But I think it's also just been very, very lovely to see how kind everyone has been, how welcoming, and how interested people are in getting to know voice actors. Not just me, but I see this huge desire to get to know us, and just learn a bit about how we work and what we're interested in and what other things we might have been in that people may have played, but they don't necessarily know who did the voices. So yeah, I just feel like there's a really positive environment right now where people really want to engage with voice actors as creatives. And I think that's really lovely because that feels new. I know people have always gone to conventions to meet people there, but
Hmm.
now with things like YouTube and this kind of content, people can really get to know us. And I think that's just really enjoyable for both parties.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's how good you guys are with your performances. Like it really just like speaks to people and they really just want to reach out to you all and get to know you more and stuff. Yeah. But
And we
you're
really appreciate that because I
yeah.
think that's why we do it. It's because we're
Hmm.
passionate about games or animation, and we really want to tell these amazing stories that people can really get engaged with. And so if that is resonating with people and landing with people, that just means the world to us because that's what we're hoping for.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Amanda, then could you tell us about like how you got into acting? Like to describe your acting, I want to say it's just like you always like really like I feel like you're just so immersed and like so in the moment with your acting like all the time. Like I don't know how to explain it. And then just the way you can like shift your like cadence and tone and pitches in your voices on the fly, like so talented. Like
Thank
how
you.
like what is your origin story? Like how did you get into acting? Like why did you start acting and all that? And maybe also like how did you get into voice acting, voiceover as
Yeah.
well?
I think I've come from a background like a family of people who were always very interested in arts and story. And I think
Oh,
that really helped for me. Just it was very natural for me to have the desire to want to be a storyteller in some way because I have a family where a lot of people are academics, but everyone is also very creative. I have a lot of family members who are musicians as well, or
oh,
either they're professional musicians. My brother is a music producer, or they are creative in some way. I'm the only actor, but we have painters, we have
wow.
singers. My sister does cosplay. Like we have a whole bunch of creative people as well. And so I was someone who was always my mother, is a writer and a director, and I think it was
Oh,
just very natural for me to be interested in that. I remember going with my mother to work, because I was raised by a single parent. So she
oh,
would take me to work when I was quite young, and I would just hang out on sets and kind of just see what was going on. And I think that just made me feel like, first of all, this is what everyone does. Like this is a normal job, right? But also I just thought the whole process of it was so exciting. You know, everything from the costumes to the lighting, like it was all just, I thought, fascinating. And I was someone who loved stories so much myself. I was a big reader as a child. I played a lot of video games from a very early
Oh,
age.
great.
I watched, animation, both Western and Eastern animation. I was really into that, so much so that I actually considered becoming an animator myself. I was really, as a teenager,
Wow.
I think, passionate about drawing, and I was quite good at it. And I really
Mm.
wanted to be like a 2D like character designer. And
Uh-huh.
then for reasons mostly related to the switch to 3D around the early 2000s, which at the time, I don't know if you remember, but like, the Shrek 1 days,
Yeah.
the animation was still a little rough. The
Hmm.
3D animation was you know,
Yeah.
it was a little harsh in the eyes, and I thought, oh, this isn't what I want to do at this point. Like obviously now you can do the most amazing things with it, but back then I think I just liked traditional like hand drawn animation so much that I felt like it kind of took the passion out of it a bit for me. So I thought, okay, what else can I do? I'd always been someone who wrote as well,
Oh,
like
wow.
both plays and stories growing up, not necessarily amazing stuff, but I was always doing all of these things. I had
Wow.
some background in singing myself, never like on a professional level because I think that wasn't my main passion. But I think organically, naturally, I moved towards acting because that was a way I could still be part of animation games, all these things that were really significant to me, but more as a vessel for that storytelling. So I think that's kind of how I organically came into acting. I was doing it as a child as well. I was a child model
Oh,
and I was also acting since I was around 5. Did lots
wow.
of theater, everything from musical theater to just, like straight theater, Shakespeare, short films, music videos, then eventually, real TV and film and voice acting was actually the last one I moved into.
Mm.
And I think it was just because in Denmark where I grew up,
Oh,
that
okay.
work was gate kept a little more. There wasn't a
Oh.
lot of access to it, and it was quite hard to get in if you didn't have those connections. So I wasn't really able to do a lot of that work until I was around early 20s. That's when I kind of started doing some voiceover. And I thought it was really, really fun. I did animation first, so a lot of really zany, kids'
Oh,
cartoons kind of
yeah.
voices. But that was great learning because dubbing is very technical because you have to fit really strict time codes while translating, and you've got the translated line, but you are having to like read a line really quickly, remember it, then see the clip once, and then kind of just perfectly match on while hearing the original voiceover, which might be quite different because of differences in pitch and tonality and rhythm in other languages.
That's right.
So it kind of fries your brain a bit to do both. But it was such good training because then now the work that I'm doing feels comparatively easier
Oh,
because I kind of jumped into the deep end.
yeah.
So like it's just when you're the original voice actor, or if you are doing dubbing the way or the way I'm doing it in Wuthering Waves, where a lot of the lines they don't have to match the exact length of the original line. That just gives you more freedom because then you have that whole range of expression where the line can come out however it feels organic and it doesn't have to be so strict. But I think it's really good as a voice actor to have the ability to do both because
Wow.
obviously a lot of games are dubs. And
That's right.
so if you can do both, that just means you have, I suppose, the capability of being both the original actor and a dubbing actor. So that was kind of the very long, sorry, story of how I got into acting and voice acting. But yeah,
Wow. Yeah.
it
No,
was a passion dream always.
yeah, it's amazing. It's in your genes, and I think it was a great choice to go into acting. And like you said, just to be part of like everything, like doing the voices. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, it makes total sense. And yeah, okay, I can see why like you're so good.
Yeah,
There's a
it's just
huge
passion.
background. Yeah, oh, it's passion and just a lot of hard work too. Wow, that's amazing. Then how did you end up auditioning for Wuthering Waves and
I
the
was
audition?
invited actually.
Mm,
I
oh,
was
really?
by Side, which is I think a lot of people know that's the studio where Wuthering Waves records at. I
Mhm.
was invited to audition for this character, and it was an in-person audition. So
Oh,
I went to Side, and the people from Kuro was sort of on a call,
oh.
and I was just doing a few lines. I don't think they were necessarily the real lines from the game, but I think they were just sort of
Mm.
lines similar to what. Cartethyia and Fleurdelys respectively would have said. They were lines that felt similar to other lines the characters have. And at that point, it was still quite secretive, because of
Yeah.
NDAs and they don't want, any risk of leaks or spoilers. So you just kind of know enough that you have an idea of what the characters are like and then you have the lines, but you don't have a lot of information to go on. I did see the character art, so I saw like the
Oh.
character model of both Cartethyia and Fleur-de-Lis. So
Mm.
I think I was one of the few people who had that information a lot earlier than anyone else had.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, and of course, I didn't really know what it meant, but I just remember looking at these designs and thinking, wow, okay. Again, as the kid who wanted to be a character designer, I was like, wow, these are amazing character designs. What a brilliant character. That's all I need to know. I'm sold. So yeah, I just went in and I did my best. I really thought it was a fun challenge to have to do a character with two voices. I really like those kind of characters that either just have two different personalities or like in this case there's an older and a younger version or whatever the in-game reason for that is. I just think those are always really great challenges because you get to show more sides of yourself and you get to stretch your voice, I guess. And this was just such a great challenge. I think I just had so much fun in the audition that maybe that carried through.
Oh, yes.
And they thought, okay, well, this person enjoys it. I think they were also probably just looking for someone who could do both, because it is a the voices are quite different, and I think they really wanted them to be different. They,
Oh.
because sometimes when you've got a character that has like dual personalities, they could have the same voice, but the intent of the character is just different.
Mm.
And here, I think there was more of a clear intent for them to have different voices, also just because of the age gap between Cartethyia and Fleurdelys when we meet them for the first time.
Yeah.
So I think they were just looking for someone who thought that would be a fun challenge and who was excited to work on the game. And I just gave it my all, and I was so grateful to then get the part. I had no idea how big a character this was going to be, and I did
Oh,
not anticipate how it would change my career.
yeah.
But I was so grateful, and I've had so much fun working on that game. So yeah, my heart is very full of gratitude.
Oh, that's awesome. Then for like when you were doing the audition, what was it like a bit um was it a bit different from like the final like voice that you guys went with and stuff for the audition?
I mean, I can't rule out that some changes were made along the way, but I think we're probably fairly close to the offer I gave them. So it's
Wow.
not uncommon in the audition that you are given some reference for what the character voices might sound like. It's not prescriptive. It doesn't mean we're looking for you to copy this, but it's
Mhm.
just so that everyone's on the same page in terms of how young or how old does the character sound and what kind of accent might they have and what kind of personality. And they'd given me some reference from other games or other characters that I think gave me a pretty good idea of what they were looking for.
Mhm.
And that then made it easier for me to go in and say, well, this is my version of what that might
Mm.
sound like in my voice. That
Mhm.
could sound like this. So I think probably what we ended up doing, I don't think it would be too far. Like if someone could play me back that audition tape, I don't think it would be too different. But I think I got better at doing Cartethia's voice
Oh yeah.
because when we started out, I think that one was further away from my speaking voice. My
Mm.
speaking voice is lower, closer to Fleur-de-Lis. So
Uh-huh.
I think that was the one where I think I got better at doing that as time went on.
Oh, great. That's amazing. The what was it? My brain's like blanking out, but I mean, definitely perfect casting. Definitely made the right choice
Thank
for
you.
sure. Yeah, I'm glad you had fun and everything. Then like speaking of Carthia's voice, maybe not during the audition, but like when you guys finally decide on what voices and what characters to go with, like how did you like come up with the voices? Like were there any inspirations from other characters like for yourself or like besides the references and stuff?
I don't think they were necessarily based on any specific characters. I think more I had an idea of, this sort of female knight at
Female
different
knight.
stages of her career.
Mm.
Like because Cartethyia would be like the still in training, where Fleurdelys is like the fully
Oh,
trained knight, right?
that's
And
right.
so I think in my head, I just had images like, famous female knight figures like Joan of Arc, or, even
Mm.
there's a book series from, I think, the 90s that, I don't know if people still know of it, but a Tamora Pierce series called Alana, which was about a girl who pretends to be a boy. So she cuts her hair and then she becomes a knight.
Uh-huh.
And, I just thought of, again, this idea of female knights, what kind of vocal qualities they might have, and, how you can show those qualities in both characters, even though they are quite different in temperament. So I think for Cartethyia, I thought about, again, she really embodies the values of, being honorable and just and kind and hopeful and passionate. Whereas Fleurdelys, she has that resilience and that, relentless pursuit of justice. And so
Yes.
I feel like they both have these knightly values, but they're just slightly different because of the age and experience difference between them. That's
Mm.
kind of how I tried to approach it. And I wanted the voices to be similar enough that you could believe at the end of the story that these were, the same person, but just with different experiences and at different life stages, but also not so similar that they felt like they were the same, because in the story, when we meet them in 2.2, they are essentially one person split in two. And
That's
so I
right.
thought both of them should be incomplete. They have
Hmm.
half, a full person each.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
that's
they are
right.
more extreme in the qualities that they have because they only have half a full
Oh,
person. So that was what I was trying to do, make them both more extreme versions of themselves, if that makes sense. So for me, Cartethyia had, again, the hope and the kindness and the politeness and all of that, but she also had the self-doubt and the
yeah,
fear.
that's right.
Whereas Fleurdelys has the resilience and the power and the drive, but maybe also has less of the emotional side of her. And so she is more cold in her
Hmm.
appearance. But it's not because she is cold, it's just
Hmm.
that
Yeah,
all the that is left in Cartethyia.
yeah,
So that's kind of how I try to approach them, that they're both sort of incomplete, and therefore when they merge, they become a whole person who
that's
has more
right.
nuance.
Yeah. Oh, that's okay, now things are starting to make sense now. Oh, that's what's been going on.
That's what I
Yeah.
was trying to
Yeah.
do. I mean, I
Yeah.
hope that came across, but that was what I was going for.
Yeah, no, definitely. So like, so now, well, okay, so what a huge balancing act to do all of that, actually. Wow, like amazing job. Then like when they merge into one, like
Mhm.
at the end of 2.2 story. Oh, spoilers, by the way. But yeah, like by now. But yeah, like when they merged together, and then they were like, okay, Amanda, like they merged, right? Go,
Yeah.
right? Like, isn't that hard to do that?
Well, in a way, no, because we'd
Oh.
kind of talked about how both voices were sort of taking a step away from my starting point, in terms of my age and my tone. Because so age-wise, I am closer personally to Fleur de Lis. We're sort of the same age, like mid-30s. And
Mm-hmm.
so basically for both of them, I took sort of a step towards younger and brighter and more hopeful and
Ah.
idealistic for Cartethyia, which basically means I went into head voice. And then
Uh-huh.
I made the pitch brighter. And then for Fleur de Lis, it's the opposite. I just went slightly more mature, slightly more in my chest voice, slightly more, I suppose, exhausted. I wanted there to be a
Oh,
real
oh,
feeling of exhaustion because she'd been going for that long. So
wow.
so I kind of just like sort of stepped to the right and stepped to the left, which meant when they came together, we talked about again like what is that balance of the middle ground voice, the merged voice. And it is sort of not as mature as Fleur de Lis, but not as youthful as Cartethyia. It is
Mm-hmm.
still closer to Cartethia's voice in the
Mm-hmm.
sense that that is the form that we see her in mostly when she's engaging with other people.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought we're closer to that voice, but we're going to make it more assertive, more confident,
Yes.
because that's what she's now gained, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then conversely, the Fleur de Lis voice in 2.4, we see in her interactions with characters like Looper, she becomes more gentle. She has more softness, still within, what is
Yeah.
appropriate for her, but she isn't cold. And I
Hmm.
think that's really nice is how we get to see what that merged what that merged form does to both of them.
Hmm.
You
Yeah, that
know,
was really nice. Yeah.
they're going more towards the middle, both sides, because it is one person now, but both aspects of her, if you will. I always saw it as Cartethyia, small Cartethyia, is who we see when she's, you know, as herself, exploring the world, interacting with friends. That's who she chooses to be. Maybe
Hmm.
because that's her chance at the life she didn't have because she was in the tower, so she's reclaiming that time. Whereas Fleurdelys more comes out when, when trouble's around, right?
Yeah,
Fleurdelys comes to smack the villains down or,
that's right.
fight the Threnodian.
That's
And I
right.
don't think it's because Cartethyia is weak and Fleurdelys is strong. I see it as them having strength, but in different ways. So Cartethyia has that kindness, that joy of life that makes her a really good friend and a really good companion. And Fleurdelys has that resilience and relentlessness that is very good for putting bad guys in their place.
Yeah,
So I kind of
definitely.
feel like that's the distribution of the time they get. But, they both still have strength in different ways.
Wow, like you're a genius. Like the
No.
way you did all this, like I was just so curious like how you did all of this, and the way you explained is now it's just like everything makes sense. Like I should just replay everything again and just see the whole
Well,
performance.
this is just my kind of process for it. And you have to remember, I had so many hours on this game.
Yeah.
Normally, you might not have quite the amount of hours that I had. And so, of course, it's not that you don't want to go that deep into a character, but maybe there isn't time. Or maybe the screen time of that character in the story doesn't allow you to really go that deep. Whereas we had a lot of time with Cartethyia and Fleurdelys. And that really allowed me to do that level
Yeah.
of work. So that is part of why this has been such a privilege and such a joy because you don't always get to have that much time. And yeah, it's just been amazing to really be able to dive deep into a character. So yeah, I'm so grateful for that opportunity.
Yeah, it must have been really satisfying to play like
Yeah.
these two characters like that for a long time. Like it was, I mean, you recorded a lot of lines.
Yeah.
Like how was it for you? Like,
It was great because again, a lot of the work I've done has been, very brief. Like sometimes you go in
oh,
and you do, if you're a bunch of NPCs in a game, maybe you go in for 1 hour, 2 hours, and that's
mm,
it, you're done. Or if you're doing, small roles in TV, you come in for one day and you're done. And, I'm not knocking that, but it feels very like abrupt. You don't
hmm.
really get that feeling of, oh, I'm working on this. It's just like, oh, that was it. I'm done.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it goes that fast. Whereas this was amazing in that it really gave me that like because we were recording for months, for
Wow.
2.2 and 2.4. Like I've
Hmm.
worked on it since, September last year. That's almost a
Wow.
year since I first started working on it, right? And that
Wow.
has just felt really special to be able to be with a character in a project for that long. That is a dream and a real gift, and I don't take that lightly. It's just been a real pleasure because I am someone who quite likes to dive deep when given the opportunity. And again, I think that is just because I am someone who loves reading, who loves narrative, who
Yeah.
loves games, animation, film, all of that storytelling. I'm really interested in characters and stories. And so being allowed to just nerd out and go really deep with
Yeah.
that is so joyful when you get the chance. But I also appreciate that there isn't always that much time. So
Hmm.
I try to do a very short version of that if it's, a character that is just there for a brief moment. But
Uh-huh.
but if given the chance, this is how I try to run with it.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people, like creators, developers, they should just give you more time to cook. Like you would do. Oh my God, like just everything's so good. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Wow. Wow. Then yeah, a few things I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Just a few things. Well, first, like did you have any favorite lines for like Carthea and Fleurdelys?
Yes.
Oh,
I did. I did.
uh-huh.
So in 2.2, there are two, like they each have a line or lines that I really enjoyed. And so for Cartethyia, it was at the very end of the story when she's offered the choice by Imperator to whether she wants to
Mm.
forget or remember.
Oh yeah.
And she
Oh.
says, the truth is a beacon in the maelstrom of my life. I think
Mm.
that's a really, and she says essentially like, I would rather suffer and rejoice in it than abandon it to blissful ignorance. And I think that is really meaningful to me. That is how I see the world. Like there is a lot of painful things, and I think most people they have painful experiences that they have to go through sometimes. And obviously I wish that wasn't the case, but I think when we are going through those things, it's so important to I don't think it's ever really helpful to just pretend it didn't happen. I understand why
Mm.
sometimes you can need that distance for a while, but for me personally, I've always found that no matter what it was, it has helped me to face it. When I was ready, it helped me to face it with the support of other people, of course, but I am someone I think who, for me personally, seeing the truth of things and facing it and doing my best has to then work with it has always been the better way for me of going forward. And so for me personally, that quote just really made sense. And similarly with Fleur de Lis, I think what I really loved is also at the very end of the game, there's this flashback where we see her standing up to the Threnodian.
Mm.
And she says, yes, humanity has its flaws,
Oh.
but we will not go down without a fight. She's saying, yes, we're not perfect. Yes, we're human. Yes, we're corruptible, but we are also going to fight. There is hope. I feel like it's just another way of saying there is hope. There is always hope, and there is
Mhm.
always something worth fighting for, and we have that fight in us. And I think, I suppose what I get from that character and what I always got from that character was this idea of hope. There is always hope even when you're going through incredibly difficult things, there is hope that you can get on the other side of that and move forward and be stronger for it and more resilient. And you can find peace and you can find happiness. So
Wow.
I just always saw her character, both of them, as such an encouraging and life affirming character, really.
Yeah.
So those quotes really stuck with me. But between us, I love all the silly lines too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I do want to talk about those, but yes, wow. I love your answers. Like those scenes were so good. Yeah. Yeah. Especially confronting the Drenodian like that. That
Yes.
was awesome.
It was a
Yeah.
very powerful
Yeah,
moment, so I
yeah,
really
it
enjoyed
was.
that.
It was so good. Oh my God. So the silly the silly lines, I'm sure everyone's like asking you and talking about it. The one with the line like Carthy has trouble, like where
Yeah.
the problem that she has, right? I guess, right?
Yeah.
Um in the studio when you were doing that, right? Like could you like tell us like kind of behind the scenes of that? Like how did you like hit that low tone like
Yeah.
how did
Well,
it
I
work?
mean,
Yeah.
it was just, recorded like in one go because
Wow.
I thought that was such a brilliant meta line as well. It's quite funny, because even though I didn't, as the voice actor, I didn't necessarily find it too difficult to go between the voices, but it was quite fun for me to have the opportunity to actually in the same line go
Uh-huh.
not just from Cartethyia to Fleurdelys, but then actually back to Cartethyia
Uh-huh.
in the same
Yeah.
line, two
Yeah.
shifts. And I thought, ooh, that's fun. And I don't think there was any magic to it. I just had to stop laughing at the line. And,
Uh-huh.
and then it was just this idea of starting it in Cartethia's voice. And then, because again, I was like, well, this is Cartethyia, not transforming into Fleur de Lis, but
Mm-hmm.
putting on Fleur de Lis's voice.
That's right. Putting
So it's
on, yeah.
Cartethyia doing a Fleur de Lis impression. And so for me, I was like, oh, she'd do it really dramatically. She just exaggerate. And so that's kind of
Wow.
how I did it.
Wow, that's how you did it, one take. And then they were just, I'm sure, just like everyone behind the glass, they're like, oh my God,
I
we gotta
think we
put
were
this in the
all
game.
kind of giggling at that one
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. Like there were some
Wow.
moments that we all same with the puppet one.
Uh-huh. Oh yes,
Like
the puppet one. Another legendary line.
I mean,
Oh,
I'm just so happy that they put things like that in because I think
yeah.
to me, Cardathia is a really silly character. Like at heart, when
Mm.
she's not, trapped in towers fighting Threnodians, I think there's a lot of silliness and goofiness in her, and I really love
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
love that when it comes out, and I just think it's so fun the idea that she's got these puppet and she's like reenacting that little fight, and so when given the opportunity, I absolutely ran with that and just I was like I have to make a silly voice for the Threnodian because I felt
Wow.
like you know, she's theatrical. She loves theater. She loves storytelling.
Yeah,
I'm like, of
that's
course
right.
she's going to do a character voice for the Threnodian, which
Wow.
I realized that I think I'm the only one who
Yes.
does that. But you know, I totally see it's completely legitimate to also play this straight. I think I'm so silly that I couldn't help myself, and I was like, you're going to get like a gremlin voice for the Threnodian because
It was so good. It was
yeah.
perfect. You were so smart to do that. Yeah. And they put in the
No.
game. They put in the
Yeah,
game.
I
It's
mean,
amazing. Yeah.
I think they just knew we're not going to get a straight one out of this one, so we're just going to have
Yeah.
to stick with it.
That's funny. Amazing job again. It's
Thank you.
just so good. Um now another question I had. Were you any other characters by any chance in the game? Like when you first started recording for this game by any chance?
Yes, but it
Really?
wasn't in the beginning. It was like, oh God, might have been when we were recording 2.2, probably.
Oh, okay.
So there was like two lines where they're like, oh, could you do these random two lines? And I was like, yeah, yeah. And I didn't know where in the game those two lines were going to be. And so I've realized now that I'm playing the game, it's in the 2.1 patch. It's the quest called Silent as a Falling Leaf. So
Oh.
it's when Phoebe and Zani go in like below
Oh,
Alvarado Vault,
yeah.
and there's like a little quest line there in the underground vault map. And so they are, you know, eventually they meet an older researcher, and it's not
Uh-huh.
her,
Uh-huh.
but
Oh.
there's like a bit at the end where there's like some flashbacks to other people that she interacted with at some point because she has a bit of memory loss, I think.
Mhm.
And one of those people is me. And
Wow.
literally what it is just me saying something like, Lily, where are you?
Oh,
Oh,
really?
Lily. Like, oh, the scientist woman coming in being like, Lily, where are you? Oh, Lily. Are you available now, Lily? There's a problem with the results you gave me. Lily? Are you there? Lily? Ah, Lily. You know, and it's just
Wow.
a reaction to her being missing or being ditzy or distracted. And
Uh-huh.
so when I heard that, when I was playing the quest, I was like, wait, that's where it is. So I didn't know the context of that line. So that was quite funny. But
Oh,
I think, to my knowledge, that is the only other character I've voiced in Wuthering Waves. I don't think there's anything else. I think I would remember.
oh my God. That's where you were, like down deep,
I
like
mean,
on the
two
ground.
lines, you know, good luck for anyone trying to find those.
Uh-huh. Oh, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go
Yeah,
down.
go and see if you can find them. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's me.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think yeah, okay. We gotta find the lines to go down under and find out. Yeah, that's awesome. Um yeah, I just wanted to talk about the 2.2 main story quest just a little bit. Because like, like we did talk like early on, like around I think around April when the quest just came
Yeah,
out, and stuff. And then I think like you were experiencing this whole, I got cast for this, and then
yeah.
I think you either played or like watched the story quest, and then I think you were like reacting to it and stuff. But what was it like? This was a while ago, but what was it like when you first saw like the final product? You could see all your hard work like in place. What was it like?
It was amazing. I think when I'd been kind of lurking when
Mm-hmm.
2.0 came out because
Mm,
Cartethyia makes a small appearance
that's right.
and I kind of just watched a little bit of that and I was like, oh, okay, that's cute because it's just a few minutes. It's a really brief cameo and I was like, okay, that seems fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then when 2.2 came out, I just didn't really have any I wasn't really able to visualize like how much would she be in the story because I hadn't played the game at this point myself. And
Mm-hmm.
so I remember watching other people's like playthroughs of it or you know live streams and just being like, wait, it's long. It's a long quest line and she's so
Oh.
featured and seeing how everything came together was so interesting because as I think a lot of people know, we only see our own lines when we're recording.
That's
And so
right.
we don't necessarily know what happens in scenes that happen in the story, but that we're not part of. So everything that happened with Cantarella, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really know about. And so I didn't really know who she was or how she played into the story. So when I you know saw that, I was like, oh, okay, that's what she does. And I think I've said this before, but because Cartethyia has a line where she says she's talking about sensing Cantarella's energy, and she says, it's giving jellyfish.
Yeah,
I
it's
thought
getting.
I thought Cantarella was going to be a literal jellyfish because,
Yeah,
again, at this point, I hadn't played the game and I was aware that, you had echoes and, you had things that weren't people. And I full on thought Cantarella was going to be a jellyfish.
that's
And so when I
funny.
saw her, I was like, wait, what? And also, I didn't hear her voice a lot. I think
Mm.
it's kind of random who records first.
Mhm.
And so I don't think I heard a lot of Alex's lines. I think I just kind of had the director reading in for Cantarella. And so again, hearing and seeing Cantarella, I was like, wow, okay, she's a great character. And
Yes.
and just seeing how everything came together with the music. I remember, when the live stream was happening and we got to kind of like the end of 2.2, with the Fleur-de-Lis confrontation, that battle.
Hmm.
Everyone, including me, watching this for the first time, were like, wait, what? The
So
music,
good.
the cut scenes, like the whole ending, like everyone was just like,
Ah,
what is happening, including me?
yes,
Because even though I
everyone.
kind of know what was going to happen, I just, you can't visualize how good it's going to look and how epic the music is going to be. And seeing it in sequence and having had that whole build up of 5, 6 hours of gameplay, it hits different.
Yes.
So it was amazing to watch that. I just remember being like, I have no words. I don't even know like what to say. And I remember thinking, "Ok, wow, okay, that came out pretty well. We did a pretty good job." I was
Yeah.
just so impressed. I,
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect and I was blown away. And that really made me go, okay, I need to play this game.
Oh, that was when
Yeah.
it made you play the game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like any game that I'm in, I automatically will play it. But that
Mm-mm.
that really sold it for me. I was like, wow, this looks amazing. There's clearly an intricate story. The characters are compelling. The music is fantastic. The gameplay looks fun. It's a good mix of puzzles and combat. I was like, okay, I need to play this game.
Wow. Like after getting to know you better and like knowing how you are so into story and like you have like art in your DNA and then you experience this for the first time, it must have been like really mind-blowing for you now. Now
It
that I think about
was.
it.
It
Wow.
was so good. Again,
Yeah.
also because this is my first experience properly, like with, watching a gacha game or
Mhm.
this
Yeah,
style of game.
that's
And
right.
so I didn't really know, again, like how combat focused is it, how story focused is it. I didn't really know what the balance of that was. I knew that there was
Mm.
clearly a story, but I didn't really know what to expect and whether it would be the kind of game that I would enjoy playing. But seeing that completely dispelled any like doubt about that. I was like, no, this is 100% a game I want to play. And just it made me so curious about finding out who are all these other characters because I'd seen the concept art of, all the Renacita characters, but I was like, I don't know who Carlotta is. I don't know who Brant is. I wanna know. I want to find out. Now I'm intrigued.
Wow. Okay, so that's how you got started in the game. You started playing. How was it like when you first started playing after, seeing all that?
Yeah, I thought it was good. So I only started playing in May this year. So
Mm.
that was after it had come to Steam, and I realized, at that point maybe it would be slightly different to the experience the day one players have had. Like I'm
Hmm.
sure it would have been optimized or changed slightly at that point, but I had a really good experience. I thought it was really, really exciting having already worked on the game and obviously knowing a bit about the lore of like what are resonators, what are threnodians, what are wave-worn phenomena and echoes and all that,
Wow.
actually going back with all that knowledge and then seeing how it's presented in the game, I still found that fascinating because again, to me, I'm not someone who's really fussed by spoilers. I don't mind knowing where a story is going to
Mm.
go. I am interested in seeing how the story is told.
Oh,
And
wow.
so even just knowing what was going to happen later, going back and then seeing the whole story and learning about Huang Long and the characters there, like fascinating. I loved it. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I didn't have a lot of time to play in the beginning because for most of May I was out of the country because I was doing some work abroad.
Hmm.
And that meant, like, this is a testament to how good I thought the game was. I only had a work laptop with me that was in no way built for playing video games. It was like a Lenovo, like one of the classic, like, ThinkPads, right?
Uh-huh.
Absolutely
Wow.
not appropriate for, I don't even know if it has a graphics card at this point, but I was like, I'm gonna install Wuthering Waves. I'm gonna play it on potato settings. And it was so laggy and stuttering, and combat was pretty much impossible. But I was like, at least I can do exploration. So I
Oh,
did a lot of that.
oh, okay,
I
yeah.
did a lot of that, and I just spent a little time figuring out all the systems and the mechanics, like what is stamina? What do I do with it? How do I level up characters? What are echoes? Like I just spent a month figuring out all of that,
Uh-huh.
in the hotel room in the evening after work,
Wow.
being like, what is this? What is this? And then when I came back from that work in June, that's when I properly started playing it and catching up on the story,
Oh,
because
that's
that's
awesome.
when I started live streaming. I wanted to try and catch up on the 2.2 story before 2.4 came out
Uh-huh.
and before Cartethyia became playable. So I
That's
had to kind
right.
of catch up, but I did it, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty much
Wow.
caught up on the story now. I think the only bit of the story I haven't played is Black Shores.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the Black Shores.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
very excited to, but that's the only everything else I've caught up on.
Uh-huh. That's awesome. Wow. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you did catch up on everything. And I think a lot of people were asking you to stream and stuff. So you were like, ah,
Yeah.
yeah, start exploring and just kind of go ahead a bit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. This is the whole summary of what happened.
Yep.
Then yeah, okay. So the game like was fun and everything. But then for streaming now, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
the streaming part. Is this your first time streaming like this?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
God, yeah.
wow. Oh
I
yeah.
never really thought I'd be doing it because I have friends who do, and I'm so aware of how this is a very big time commitment and how a lot of
Yes.
work goes into it. I think if you don't do it, it's easy to think, oh yeah, it's just someone who presses play when they're playing a game anyway, and that's it. It's like, no, there's a lot of work and preparation in it. And, for people who edit their videos, like it takes a lot of time. And I have
Yeah.
a lot of respect for content creators and streamers. And I was like, I don't have time to do that full time. I don't have that time.
Yeah.
So I was very careful about it because I was very happy to do it, but I also didn't want to set expectations that I then couldn't meet. I didn't want to disappoint anyone.
Mm.
If they were like, "Oh, we like this, but why aren't you doing it more often?" Because I just knew at that point, again, like this summer, I've been very, very busy. I've been very lucky to have a lot of work, but I've also been out of the country a lot. And again, without access to a computer or anything that could have allowed me to stream. And so I just knew I won't have time to do this regularly. So I think we found a sweet spot now where I have kind of made it clear to people that I'm really happy to do it. And I enjoy doing it, but I can only do it so often. So for now, I've kind of contained it to doing main story quests and Wuthering
Okay.
Waves.
Mm.
And I'm open to doing like videos as well, like every now and then, like maybe reaction stuff. I have ideas,
Oh,
but
great.
I'm trying to be, I'm trying to not again promise something I can't then deliver on.
Yeah.
I don't want to,
Yeah.
ever disappoint anyone. And so thankfully, if people seem really understanding, they know that, it's not my full-time job. They know that I already have a full-time job. And so
Hmm.
this is something I'm trying to do in my spare time because again, as we've talked about, I am a storyteller. I love talking about story and lore
Yes.
and sharing that with people. And I think the people who want to watch that content, maybe that's why people find it enjoyable because I think maybe I'm reaching the people who enjoy that themselves. And I'm sure that there are other people who would be much better at doing some hardcore combat challenges. But I like talking about the story and the lore, and the people who
Hmm.
like that maybe come for that. But yeah, I'm going to try and see what balance I can find where I can do some content now and then, but as my schedule allows. But yeah, I've got ideas, so stay tuned.
Yeah. Oh my God, you are already cooking too. Yeah, it's good. And I think that's a very healthy balance for you. Like just and just, like because people want you to stream and I'm sure they're all willing to wait and stuff. So I think this was a great choice. Yeah.
Yeah, I think quality over quantity. Again,
Yeah,
this isn't my job, this isn't my
that's right.
career. So it's something that I do because I find it fun and because it seems
Hmm.
like other people are finding it fun. And that's the
Yes.
important thing to me is the community feeling of it and the sharing of interesting thoughts and discussions. And so it's something that I really want to be able to do with people. But again, I think everyone understands that, we might not be able to do it, 3 times a week, but when we do it, there'll be more to talk about. So yeah, I think we'll find a balance there.
Yeah, definitely. Like just your streams, like the way you talk about the characters, the story, like
Oh, you've watched them.
yeah, yeah, of course. You gotta make it into a Netflix series. It's so like calm, like relaxing, and like I'm learning about the story more than I play it. I'm like, okay.
You know,
Like you play, yeah.
someone called me the like the Bob Ross of gacha
Yeah, yeah,
streams,
yeah.
and I was like, do you know what?
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Oh my
I thought that
God,
was
the
so
Bob
funny. I was
Ross.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
do you know what? If that's
Yeah.
what I bring, if that's like a calm vibe and just let's talk about lore,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah, yeah,
If
yeah.
that's what it is, you know. And again, I'm not even like, I'm not even a proper like lore, like, you've got people like life lessons. You've got people who are the proper
Life lessons.
lore
Yeah.
experts, right? Like
Yeah.
respect to them. I'm just someone who's playing the game, who's only been playing the game for like what, 2 months. But
Uh-huh.
I'm just here being like, I wonder if, with a curiosity. But like, we leave it to the real law experts to come and educate us. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, shout out to life lessons.
Yeah, check them out. It's great.
But yeah, but no, you're always. I feel like you're always on point. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. I'm like, oh, that's why they did that. When it's not related to Cartethyia Fleurdelys, I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense now. Yeah, yeah. Then let me see. Like for then, how about for like other like video games, like not aside from streaming, like do you play a lot of video games? Like you don't have much time, but
Yeah, I don't have as much time as I would like, but like in the past when I had more time, I have played loads
mm,
of like I've always played games. That's kind of my, my comfort thing, my
yeah.
relaxation
Ah, that's
thing.
great. That's
So I've
great.
always played lots of games. Games mean a lot to me, and I still try to play games, but I don't have a lot of time. So it's like right now I've been catching up on Wuthering Waves, and that's kind of
Hmm.
all I've had time to do because you can do that, at your own pace. You can do that like an hour here, an hour there. I'm really excited to play Clair Obscur Expedition
Oh
33.
yeah,
I've
yes.
only played the prologue, so like don't spoil me, guys. But I know that that's a game I'm gonna love because again, I already see the hallmarks of good storytelling. I already have so many
Yeah.
theories and I was playing the prologue with a friend who was saying like, "Oh, this is a great game. You would enjoy it." And they really wanted to see how I'd react to the prologue, obviously because of even in the prologue, there's some like really emotional moments. And I was just immediately like, what does that mean? What does that mean? I wonder if
Yeah.
that is a clue. And I'm already like, I've got all the theories brewing, so I'm very excited to see where that game goes. But yeah, I don't know when I'll have time to properly play it, but hopefully one day.
That's awesome that you play too, and then like you get cast for this big game, you get to play it too, right? Because it's a video game.
Yeah,
It's also nice. Yeah, I'm
it
so
is.
happy
It
for
is.
you. Yeah.
Oh, thank
I
you.
am so happy for you. For work, right? I do want to talk about your other voice acting roles.
Yeah.
I did check out some of your other characters. Um, yeah, like I know that you are Audrey in Sternova.
Even in battle, one must maintain style. You know, old, how do my bullets taste? You will not escape the flames!
Yeah.
So that game, like I would because like with the voice actors in the United States, I would hear like they would announce it like, oh, I'm this character and this character, right? And then I saw you in the UK. So everyone's like in the US and maybe some
Yeah.
other remote locations. And I was like, oh my God, Amanda got into this game. And yeah.
I see. This is a curious one. I don't know why I'm the only person who clearly like worked on this in a different way. I'm fairly sure I'm the only person who wasn't in the US or
Yeah.
was in contact with the LA studio, and I don't know why. I honestly can't.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's also like I think Audrey's the only British character, and so I don't know if they were looking for everyone else in the US or like with people who had US agents or what that was about. And then they thought, oh, the UK character, we're going to look in the UK. I don't know, but what was so funny about Stronova is when I was doing it, I was recording it from home, like,
Oh.
just live directed,
Hmm.
and I didn't really know what the game was or when it was going to be out. And so when it wasn't like until 4 months after it had already come out that I
Mm.
realized that it was out. And I was like, oh. And then I saw online that everyone else had been announced. And there was this speculation about who's Audrey. And
Uh-huh.
I had
Yeah.
the most hilarious stuff like, oh, she's probably just some random British lady like off the street. Or maybe she's ashamed of her performance and she doesn't want to come forward. There were all these amazing theories. And I
How
thought, well,
dare.
at this point I'm going to have to say something because it's just going to get weirder. And people had even tagged like the voice director who had worked with everyone else except me, like, who's Audrey? And she was like, I don't know. And I just thought, okay, it's gotten weird now, and I just had to be like, hi guys, sorry,
Wow.
it's me. I still don't know. I don't know. I think maybe sometimes what happens is just that you look different places, and for some reason or other, maybe they couldn't find someone to do a British accent. I don't know. But for some reason they found me elsewhere, and you don't normally get contacted by games developers saying the game is out. Like you kind of have to keep on track of that. And I just, because I didn't really know what the game was called, I just didn't really know it was out until I think I saw something about it and I was like, wait, is that? And then I saw the character and was like, that's the game. I did. So that was a funny one. But yeah.
Oh my God.
The mystery is solved.
Yeah, but first off, how dare they? Oh my God, random what?
No, but this is the thing. I think people are just not used to hearing British accents in these kind of games. And I understand that. I think Wuthering Waves, is definitely challenging that in the 2.0 update. But I think there has been a convention that anime-style games have American accents as the default. And I think that's completely valid and that's fair. So I think people were just, and I guess, again, in the game, maybe because everyone else is American or doing an American accent, it feels a bit like, wait, why? Who's that, right? So I think people were just a bit like, why is she British? But then you see her animations and it's like when she wins, when she's MVP, she's like holding a cup of tea. So I'm like, well, clearly that was a design choice, I don't know.
It's funny. And the way you portrayed her was so good. Like she's very like posh, very upper class. Like
I think they just wanted to have that kind of like British upper class kind of character. I feel like Audrey is like the Carlotta of Strenova if we're making a Wuthering Waves. Do you see what I mean? Because she's like upper class, refined. She's gonna shoot you, but she's refined. Yeah, and she's like trying to avenge her family. So I kind of feel like that kind of checks out.
Oh, that makes sense now. Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, and just another note. Yeah, you're right. That game for some reason has like so many directors and stuff. So yeah, it makes sense that I'm
sure there's lots of great explanations.
Yeah. Gotcha. For your other role as I heard that I saw this on Twitter. You announced that you were Luna for Moko.
And that should do it. Huh? See, we're gonna need a little help.
Yeah. How's working on that kind of game? And it's by Supercell. Like, big company.
It was really, really fun because it's something quite different to what because people mainly know me from Wuthering Waves and doing Cartethyia and Fleurdelys, which is, I suppose more of a serious character and, dramatic art. Doing something that is on the like more fun, silly side, like Moko is quite a fun game. It is quite, it doesn't take itself really seriously. It is very vibrant, very silly, very full of humor. And so that was quite different. And also Luna is just a really different character to the point where I think the majority of people would probably be very surprised to know that I was voicing that character. Because again, like there's just so many things. Like she's very different to me as a person because she's younger, she's more hip, she's the CEO of Moko, but she's also a DJ, so she's cool in a way that I'm not.
You're super
she's
cool.
just like one of those like I'm effortlessly cool kind of characters, and so that was a really fun challenge, and it's just a very different voice. It's more like the kind of voices I used to do when I did animation. So for me, working on that was just really fun. Just being like, let's do something completely different. And it is such a fun game where like all sorts of things can happen because essentially you're fighting monsters and demons that come through portals. So all kind of craziness can happen. So yeah, that's just been a real joy and like a really great team. Everyone's been super lovely to work with. So yeah, I just enjoyed doing something fun.
Oh, that's awesome. I could hear you having fun. Like, I recently heard it was like a little promo. I think Luna's like trying to recruit like players, I guess.
Yes.
And yeah, the way
there's a really fun, there's a fun, like that's the thing I appreciate about them. I feel like even the promotion for Moko is quite silly, but like in a good way. And so this is kind of like, how tech companies, they can have these really serious promotional videos where they're like in a world and it's very epic and it's kind of I think poking fun a little bit of that, like, because
Ah.
Moco is a startup, like they're monster
Mm.
hunting company, so they're
Oh, I
Moco.
see.
And
Yeah.
so because it's a startup, they're doing this kind of self-promotion
Uh-huh.
but they're not necessarily great at it, right? Because they're monster hunters. They're not necessarily really good at marketing. And
Yeah.
so I think there's a lot of humor in them. Just like when you watch the trailer, you can see that there's like they've even put like watermarks and like so it's very clear that like Luna just went on and found some random artwork and like slapped it together and I'll do the voiceover myself, and I just
Yeah.
think there's so much humor in it.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, that's really fun.
It was so fun. Yeah,
I
I
really
love.
enjoyed that.
Yeah, I could tell. It was so good. Yeah. I'm gonna link all those later. People need to
Yeah,
watch. Oh,
yeah,
I'm
go
gonna put
check
on
it
this
out.
video. Yeah.
Go check
So
out the games.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so good. One more thing I wanted to talk about is like you are also in Diablo 4 and Diablo Immortal Blizzard
Yes.
games.
I'm worried about Deckard. I'm worried about what happens if it doesn't work. What happens if it does? I know Deckard misses his mother, but they're meddling with forces that ought not be meddled with.
Like
Yeah.
how was it working on like a Blizzard game?
I,
The
I
Blizzard
mean,
games.
that was amazing for me because I played Diablo 1 when
Oh,
it came
wow.
out,
Wow,
right? On
Diablo
the
1. Yeah.
PS1.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend who had a brother who had the PS1, and we
Mm-hmm.
played Diablo, and we were like 10 years old or something, and we thought we were kind of cool because we were playing the scary game, and I don't even think like I think we made it to like level 3.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to anyone who's played Diablo 1. We made it to like level 3, and the Skeleton King was there, and we
Uh-huh.
were like, it's fine, we got it. We can just close the door and like rethink. And then he opened the door and we were just like, right, okay, that's it. Never playing this game again, right? Like out the window with that console. We were just so terrified by this idea that the game had taught us that the monsters can't open the doors. And
Uh-huh.
then he just opened it. We were like,
That's so scary.
no. So working on those games,
Yeah.
that was crazy. And a shout out to Andrea Toyas, who was one of the first voice directors or casting directors to really give me an opportunity. I really
Oh,
appreciate
that's awesome.
her, thinking of me for those like so I like those were just offered to me, those parts, and I really appreciate that. And it was a great opportunity to work on something, you know, as big as that. Even in, I think in Diablo 4, I'm just a small NPC, like one of I think they're called obol vendors. They have this like gambling
Mm.
mechanic where you can like find some in-game currency and you can buy mystery boxes, and it's like maybe there's some good stuff in
Oh.
there, maybe not. So it's kind of like a shady character, but that was really fun. And then in Diablo Immortal, I got to play Deckard Cain's wife
Yeah.
in his
Uh-huh.
personal quest where you kind of go back in time. And that
Mm.
for me felt very significant because again, like Deckard Cain is a
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
famous character in the
Yeah.
Diablo series. And I remember when I was in the session, they were, because you can't expect all voice actors to know all games. They were like trying to explain who he was. And it was like, say less, guys. I know who Deckard Cain is. And for 10-year-old me, like knowing that one day I would be voicing like his wife, like that felt like,
Wow.
yeah, that was like my moment of, wow,
Yeah,
I've
that
made
is
it.
wow.
Even
Yeah.
if nobody else knew that I did that, I felt like, wow, I've made it.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so great. Oh my God, full circle moment.
Yeah,
And
no,
playing Diablo
completely.
1.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that felt very, very exciting for me just to be like, I am working on a franchise that I played growing up. That felt huge and massive. So yeah, so thankful for that opportunity as well.
That's awesome. I really hope you can have more of those moments in the future. I know you're going to be cast for like
Fingers
everything.
crossed.
Like, yes, no, for sure, for sure. I do want to talk about now just like because you are so like involved with the Wuthering Waves community. Like you're so involved. You interact with a lot of the content creators, the in the community. I do want to talk about there was a moment in the 2.4 story quest, like at
Yeah.
towards the end, like Carthethyia is like at a restaurant and eating, and she mentioned that she's gonna recreate like the Laurus salad. And then I thought like, oh, that'd be nice if they kind of show that in game, but usually games don't. But I feel like Wuthering Waves might, right? But then I opened Twitter, and then I saw that you made it like in person in real life, and just I think that's so cool that a voice actor would do something like that. Like yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so I have to say, first of all, that the recipe, like credit to David Johnson Kim for creating, like he
Hmm.
makes really good videos where he
He
actually
does.
recreates the dishes of Wuthering Waves,
He
which is
does.
amazing. Like he's clearly an amazing chef. So like
Yeah.
props to him for taking the ideas of the recipes in the game and translating them to real life recipes
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
people can recreate. That's so cool. And second, I have to say that I didn't actually make the meal. I had the meal and I shared it, but I didn't actually make it. That was one of my
Oh.
friends, who people who watched my most recent stream will know as Dan, the
Oh, yeah.
disembodied voice.
Yeah.
Really good friend from drama school. We've done a lot of work together, and he actually surprised me with that meal because he's a big Cartethyia fan,
Oh, I
and so
see.
he saw the recipe and he was like, we gotta
Hmm.
see that, right?
Yeah,
Because so
yeah.
many people were saying you should try that, and I was like, oh, I'll
Yeah.
see if I have time. So he like tricked me by being like, oh, do you want to have lunch? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then he
Oh.
made it, and I was like, okay, so that I was so impressed. Like, and it was great. Like, it
Yeah, it
was a
was good.
banging recipe.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
anyone who hasn't tried it, like, go and make your own Laura salad. I completely understand the hype. Like, that
We
was good stuff.
we have to now.
But
Yeah.
I just think for me, like those community moments, that's kind of what I want to do. If I'm working on something
Mm.
with and there's a community that is interested in having interactions,
Mm.
I really want to be part of that fun. I want to share in the memes, like who doesn't enjoy a good meme? Like
Yeah.
who doesn't enjoy a funny, silly bit? And I think those lines about, Cartethia's love for Laura salad and disgust for pizza tropical, I think those
Uh,
are really funny moments.
so
And
funny.
everyone kind of seems to be in on that joke. And I'm like, well, of course, like if someone has made this dish, like of course I want to try it. Like that just seems like a no-brainer to me to be like, yeah, let's get in on the memes. 100%.
For sure. You're so good with like meme speak and knowing about memes. So
I'm
good.
everywhere.
Yeah. Um, then for some more acting stuff, like maybe like one more acting question, but I was just
Yeah.
very curious, like what kind of archetypes or what kind of characters do you enjoy playing as an
Ooh,
actor?
it's a good question. I think now, because of how my voice sounds, I think I tend to get cast as like what's the phrase I'm looking for here? Like, like evil queen or evil
Oh,
witch.
okay, okay,
I
yeah,
get a lot of
yeah,
that, like, oh,
yeah.
hello, I'm here to
Uh,
kill you.
oh,
Like, I
so
get a
good.
lot of that.
Uh-huh.
Um, but I kind of like that. I don't know what
Uh-huh.
that
Oh
says about me, but
yeah.
I think I enjoy it. So I think if there was like I had to pick one archetype of character that I'm really drawn to, for some reason I love this idea of, political characters. So but what I mean by that is the people who are like not necessarily like kings and queens, but like
Mm-hmm.
the advisor to the king and queen. Like those kind of characters who have
Mm.
some kind of agenda and who are
Hmm.
usually like a bit morally gray or maybe slightly corrupt. I always think
Oh,
those
okay.
kind of antagonists are very interesting because I don't know, there's just again there's always they'll be so closely related to the storytelling and the conflict of that world. It's kind of like what we see in Wuthering Waves with Fenrico as a character,
Yes, yes.
right?
Mhm.
He is this kind of like, we don't quite know what his game is, but he's clearly an ambiguous, potentially antagonistic character, right?
Yeah,
But
that's
but
right.
he's so closely linked to the whole theme of the Raguna arc, you know, this question of faith and
Hmm.
the dichotomy between Raguna being very like led by the Sentinel and Septimont being kind of like free of the Sentinel and saying no, we don't need that. And so I just think those characters are always interesting because they will be tied to the themes of the story, and so there's always something really compelling about them. So I'm quite drawn to those characters, like the evil politician or the sneaky advisor or the court lady who's got her own agenda. Like I really like those characters.
Wow, I love this answer because you always tie it with the story too, not just for your personal satisfaction. Like you also tie it with like how the story flows with those kinds of characters. Wow, that's great. Then yeah, that was a lot about acting.
Yeah.
Like outside of acting, like what do you do for fun? Like, do you have any hobbies like besides video games too? Like
Yeah,
what do you usually do besides work and stuff like that?
and sleeping.
Yeah, and
Um,
sleeping.
So
Of
if
course.
I do have some spare time, things I really enjoy doing, I know that like these are going to be lame answers, but I really
No.
actually like going into nature because
Mm.
I am so much, in front of a screen for
Hmm.
various reasons that actually getting to go outside is just like, oh, nice. Really like
Yeah.
swimming, really like being in water.
Oh,
Because
great.
again, I grew up in Denmark, so that's an island nation. So being close to
Mm.
water is quite normal for me. I used to be a competitive swimmer,
Oh,
so
wow.
water is quite like ooh. And
Yeah.
I grew up in a part of Denmark that is very green, so I feel quite happy when I can go and be in nature. I really love food, so
Oh, great.
cooking and eating food. Like if I could do one thing only, like that would be what I would just eat food
Oh, yeah.
constantly. Yeah, I love food, which is also why, if someone makes me a Laurus salad, you best believe I'm gonna eat.
Yeah, yeah.
I love cooking. I love trying new things. I even worked as a sous chef for a while.
Oh, wow,
So like
really?
I'm quite interested in cooking. I've already revealed that I listen to a lot of K-pop.
Oh, yeah?
I can't remember how that came out, but
Uh-huh, yeah.
yeah, I do listen. And, I've been doing that. It's because I used to live in Australia and like 13 years ago. And so in
Wow.
2012,
Uh-huh.
I lived in Australia. And obviously, because of the proximity, there's a lot more crossover, like culturally. And so K-pop was big even then. It was like
Yeah.
second generation K-pop. It was still
Yeah.
quite big. And so I got into all of that and was like, ooh, vibes. And that was the same year that Gangnam Style came out. And then
Wow,
suddenly
yes.
everyone knew what K-pop was. And
Yep,
I was like,
yep.
yeah, it's pretty good. And I've just been listening to it ever since because again, I think I just got sucked into the deep end. So I do that. I do enjoy that. I know way too much at this point.
That's
And
awesome.
I still like reading a lot. I really
Hmm.
like reading. I like watching, TV when I can. Like it takes me forever to watch a show because I have so little time, but I'll always have like one K-drama on the go because they're so
Oh,
creative. Like
yeah.
there's just something for everyone. Like you've got like wild sci-fi things with like time travel and like there's so many crazy things out there and they're just so well. Again, the storytelling, I think the pace is better. Again, this could just be my personal opinion, but I think I'm more drawn to Eastern cinema, both in terms of
Mm.
animation, films, and TV, because I feel like the pace is different.
Mm.
Western storytelling tends to be really fast paced now.
I
Like
see.
something is happening every minute. Like there's always an explosion or like, oh, we gotta go. And that's great. Or like people meet and then the next scene they're together. And I'm not saying we can't have efficient storytelling, but I think I like the slower pace
Mm.
where we get more slice of life moments, where we have more time to believe that these people actually really built that relationship or made that change in their, personal lives. I think that is more compelling to watch, a show that lasts, 20 hours than one that's like
Hmm.
8 hours long.
Yeah.
And, I think there's been, I know a lot of film don't necessarily make it to the UK because yeah, we don't see too many of them. But like everything
Um,
I've seen recently in the past few years, like I'm a huge Makoto Shinkai fan in terms of like animated
oh.
films. I
Uh-huh.
think there's some beautiful storytelling there that I really appreciate. And things like Decision to Leave, Drive My Car. There's been so many really
Wow.
beautiful, memories of murder, so many good, amazing stories that have comparatively a slower pace. And some might find them too slow, but I really, really enjoy that feeling of being like, I'm just seeing the everyday life of these characters and really getting to know them and seeing how they develop over time. And I like that pace. So I'm very drawn to that kind of storytelling.
Wow, I had no idea. I never thought about that. For me, just like as a
I
Korean
could be wrong,
person,
but that's
no,
just how I've experienced it.
no, but I think you're absolutely right. Just the way you said, like, just like something explodes. You're right. Like now I'm thinking about it. You're right. Just for me, I guess I took it for granted because I'm Korean. I just turn on TV. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh,
maybe.
okay. Yeah, but
And and
now you're right.
and another thing, and again, I could be wrong, but one thing I think is really interesting about so I've been learning Korean
Oh,
because
really?
yeah,
That's
I mean, I
awesome.
don't put me on the spot. I can't see anything,
Of course not.
but I've been learning it because my grandfather was a linguist and he spent a lot of
Mm.
time in Thailand and he spoke a lot of Asian languages.
Oh,
And
wow.
my family also has like family friends who are Chinese. Like there is a lot of Asian overlap. My father used to live in Thailand. There's been a lot,
Wow.
and I always wanted to learn an Asian language because it's quite different. And
Hmm.
I was told that Hangul was comparatively easier to learn than
Yeah.
say Chinese, right? So I was like, okay,
Hmm.
I'm gonna make it easier for myself. But that is also why I've been watching a lot of K-dramas, and
Oh.
what I find about K-dramas that I find really interesting is that it seems like it's not like gender roles are flipped, but you see a lot more of men being allowed to have emotional moments or vulnerable moments.
Mm,
And women can also be assertive without it being a problem. And I think
mm.
that's maybe why the storytelling feels more nuanced because characters get to show a whole range of human emotion and capabilities. Like you see loads of examples where maybe the male lead is the brains and the female lead is the, fighter. Like,
Uh-huh.
I feel like there's
Yeah.
just more variety in how characters are presented, and that makes it more compelling overall for a viewer. Again, it's just about the storytelling. I feel like you've got some good stuff going on. So yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely. But I'm learning so much about stories and like how like people present stuff. Like I'm learning so much from you. Like this all makes sense now. Yeah, that does sound very refreshing when you like say it out loud. Yeah, that does make sense. Um, for like one last thing about K-pop, did you watch K-pop Demon Hunters by any chance?
Yes, of course. Of course I did.
Oh my God,
Yes, 100%.
what did you think?
I loved it. I think
Yeah.
it was great. Like I wouldn't have been mad if it had been longer. Like for me,
Mm,
I could have had a longer film even.
yeah,
But
yeah. I
I
agree.
understand that, sometimes you got to keep it pacey and I also do appreciate like a good snappy 100 minutes or whatever it is. But I thought it was great. Again, with the brain of someone who was really interested in animation, I thought it was so fun, so colorful, expressive. Thought you had great characters, great songs, like props to them. I was really compelled by the narrative. Again, I feel like for my money, it could have had even more time, but I
Hmm.
understand that sometimes, for many reasons, you kind of have to trim it
Yeah.
down. But I loved it. I thought it was great, and I'm really happy that again, that's when films like that become really popular because that seems to have kind of hit some mainstream momentum. Like
Yeah, that's
everyone's
right.
seeing it. It's number one on Netflix. I'm so happy about that because again, what I love to see is stories or studios that are taking chances and doing something a bit outside of the box
Yeah.
becoming successful because again it just shows it kind of is the case study in this can be worthwhile, this can be popular. We don't need to regurgitate the same ideas and the same stories over and over. We can show different cultures. I love that it was so tied to a specific country and a specific
Yeah.
culture, and I would love to see more films again that were unapologetically set and centered around a specific country or culture. I think that's really really great when we see that diversity and the variety. And again, like if that makes people more interested in animation or Korea or K-pop, like amazing. So I'm just so happy to see when stuff like that really becomes a big hit.
Yeah, like yeah, it's been like number one for a few weeks now. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
which is
And
amazing.
yeah, thank you for explaining everything. Like, cause like I'm still kind of getting used to like knowing what's a good story and things like that. But the way you explain everything, like it all makes sense. Like I'm
Well,
enlightened
at
this whole interview. I'm like,
at the
oh,
end of the day, what makes a good story is also subjective. So I don't want to in any way imply that the way I think about story is the way that everyone has to do it. I know that I'm someone who's quite analytical, and that's
mm,
just because I am so intrigued because I'm coming at it from both a writing and an
that's right.
acting and even art, animation perspective. So I'm
Mm,
curious about so many of the technical aspects as well, and I don't expect the average consumer or viewer to
hmm.
necessarily think so technically about how did they do that and why. But that's just, I can't help myself. That is where my brain goes. I'm immediately like, why?
Yeah,
I want to know everything.
for sure. It
So,
must be really fun too, like to
yeah.
do all of that. So no, that's
Yeah. I mean,
good.
I get to do what I'm passionate about for a
Yeah,
living now. So
yeah.
I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, living the dream. That's awesome.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Then for other like aspiring like voice actors,
Mm.
right? Do you have any advice for people who want to work in like video games or voiceover or like they want to get into voice acting?
Yeah. And I'm someone who can talk too long about this. So I'm going to try and keep it short for once, be
Mhm.
concise. My main piece of advice is
Mm,
to not compare yourself to other people. And
mm,
what I mean by that is everyone's journey is completely different in acting in general, and that's also the case in voiceover. Where you live, like the markets in voiceover, they work differently. So if you're in the US, it's different to how the UK works. Of course, there are common ground things, but always just don't compare yourself to someone who's in a different part of the world because their path will have been different. And people will have different backgrounds, different obstacles to overcome, different levels of connection or privilege. So don't compare yourself to anyone else. Always just say, okay, what is my next step? And then the second thing I would say is don't worry about whether you have a cool voice or a good voice or a beautiful voice. I think a lot of people get stuck on that initially. They say, oh, but my voice isn't interesting. It's not cool. It's not beautiful. And first of all, you need to remember, most people don't like the sound of their own voice. I think it's very rare that people go, ooh, I sound great. Most of us, we just kind of go, eh. And especially if you're new to performing, if you're not used to hearing your voice recorded and played back, everyone finds that unsettling at the beginning because the way we hear our own voices when we speak, the way that sound is resonating in our skulls, it's different to how it sounds when recorded. And so that can be really jarring. It's the same as if we're used to seeing ourselves in the mirror. So if you sometimes see a picture of you that is then the unmirrored, you go like, whoa, 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 because you're just not used to seeing that. So I think you need to just listen to yourself enough that you can get comfortable or at least objective about your own voice. You don't need to be like, wow, that's beautiful, I'm the best. It doesn't need to be that, but you just need to get to the point where you can listen objectively and say, yeah, that's fine, Because if you can't do that, then you can never get to the point where you can really assess the work that you're doing critically and say, because it's never your voice isn't good. It's just that line read didn't work for some reason. It's not about you. It's not personal. It's just that didn't work. Let's do something different. Right? The same way that if you were drawing or composing or doing anything else creatively, it doesn't come out perfect all the time. That's not the point. The point is just to be able to train your ear to be like, that worked, and that's why it worked. So you can recreate that, right? It's just building technique, but you can't do that if you can't even bear to listen to yourself.
Oh, wow. So you got to get over that first step.
Exactly. Third thing, again, I'll keep it short.
Oh, no. Keep
Don't
going,
worry
please.
about imitating other people's voices. I think a lot of people, they practice by replicating or copying other voices. And that's a really impressive skill. Like impressions, it's a cool skill. It's fun. It's impressive. But I think even if you are good at that, don't rely on that to get you work because I think it's very rare that it actually does. People usually get cast for their voice and their original voices. So if that's not accessible to you, don't worry. You're fine. And if it is, that's cool. But then think, okay, but how could I make that into original voices? Like for everyone, I think the most important thing is to map out what your voice can do. How young can you sound? How old can you sound? What languages and accents can you do? Can you go really high in your voice, really low? Can you do a fun, some people can do fun, growl effects or sound like monsters. And some people are really good at sounding old, whatever it is. Or some people can sound like babies, really believably, or animals, or whatever it is.
That's right.
Maybe you have a Disney princess voice or you have a soldier voice. It doesn't matter. But whatever you're good at, find out, okay, I can do that, so that you can always with consistency, go back and do that. You can reliably do that voice because people will expect you to be able to maintain that voice for 50 hours or something, right? So you need to be able to do that. But then also, once you're really comfortable with what you're good at, challenge yourself. What am I not so good at? And how far can I go towards that? Nobody's good at everything, but you can challenge yourself. What would I need to change to get closer to that voice? If you're really struggling to sound, if you have a very young voice and it's hard for you to sound older or more assertive or more mature, what could you do to change that? Or, can you do vocal warm-ups, singers warm-ups or exercises to get more range or get more comfortable in a different part of your voice? Just keep playing and see what happens if, because that will then give you the confidence and the toolkit to go in and audition and do work. And that's the majority of the journey, is getting to that point.
This is amazing. This was free advice. This seems
that's my advice.
Amazing. But it's so good. Oh my God, you're so smart. I'm so inspired right now. So Amanda, what's next for you in terms of acting in your career now?
Well, so because of NDAs, I can never say too much.
Course.
But I am in the lucky position that I've been working on a bunch of games. I have games coming out in the near future. I think some will come out this year.
Oh yeah?
before we know it. And
Yay.
some may be announced this year, some may come out
Mm,
next year or the year. Sometimes
yeah.
you never quite know when something is out, so I can't say anything until it is, but there's definitely stuff coming, and there will be stuff coming that I think will surprise people. That will be,
Oh,
again, different parts of my voice that maybe we haven't seen, or different
yeah.
languages or accents. So, and
Hmm.
different genres as well. I've been very lucky to work on like the most different projects you could imagine. So you're gonna get a
Really?
bit of everything. Yeah, and I'm very excited to share all of that with you. And also, I think people don't necessarily know this, but I also do motion capture and performance capture.
I
And
saw that.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, so there will be things coming out where maybe I didn't necessarily provide the voice,
Hmm.
but I may have done that for it. And so, if you play the game or you watch the scenes, you will, hear someone else's voice, but you'll see, it'll be my physicality, my facial movement. I will have done that work, and that's also really exciting
That's
to be able
awesome.
to embody a character in that way.
Yeah.
So I think that is, more games work. I don't have like a Broadway play or anything in my back pocket, but I'm very excited to talk about these games. There's some brilliant projects that I'm very proud to have worked on, and just feel very lucky to have been involved with. So yeah, I think it'll just probably be lots more games and maybe some streaming every now and
Yeah.
then.
Yes, for streaming. Yes. Please let us know like when, these projects are announced and your streams
Absolutely.
too. Your streams
Yes.
too.
I'll
Because
keep everyone
yeah,
posted.
yeah, you always break the internet every time you stream when you announce it. I'm
We'll see.
serious. Yeah, yeah. So that's great. Um, lastly, where can people follow you for your stream and like your social media and things like that?
Yeah, so I usually announce new projects on Twitter or X, where I
Mm-hmm.
think I'm just called Amanda_Rischel. So you can
Mm-hmm.
find me there if you want to keep in touch with new updates. I my YouTube channel is called Amanda Rischel VA. So you can find me there if you want to see any of my live streams or videos. Again, it will be sporadic. It won't be like every Tuesday or anything, but I will put content out there and I will announce it on Twitter a few days before at least so that people kind of have a chance if they want to be there live, if it's live content. Yeah, I think those are probably the best places to keep in touch if you want to hear more about what I'm doing or you want to watch the content.
Awesome. Great. Amanda, thank you so much for the interview today. But before we go, usually for our interviews, we do kind of like a live reading thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. Would you be up for it?
absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome.
All right. Well, are you ready?
Yes, I am ready. We're all
All right.
ready.
Now begins the night story. Ah, just the sight of it is enough to. Is this what people eat nowadays? This warm light must not fade. Take my power, my blessings. Seek out a future where I am your blade. We'll find it together.
So good.
All right, then let's go into the
Yeah.
liberation line.
Yeah.
Gonna see if I hope the sound is gonna be okay. Oceans, bow before me. And then let's do some Fleurdelys.
Amazing.
Come to me, mighty god killer. False divinity, suffer my disobedience. Let's move
So
it away
good.
for this
Yeah.
one.
No, yeah. Oh, yes.
My blade, purge all evil.
Oh my God. Everything sounds so good. You're amazing. Yeah, that line would have destroyed your PC setup. Like you had to
Yeah, yeah.
step back. Yeah, pew. Oh my God, that was amazing. Wow, that was crazy to see it live. Like so
Yeah,
good.
thank you. I mean,
Yeah.
this is what I always say to people. I'm like, I think it's probably going to sound fairly similar to how it, because I don't think they actually, like the music is what
Hmm.
makes the everything so cool, but I don't think
Hmm.
they really tweak our voices that much.
For sure.
So I think it's just the sound design that makes everything so epic,
Hmm.
where it sounds so cool. But yeah,
Yeah.
I like doing the line reads because I know that people find it really fun to see, and I guess maybe it's because it's hard to imagine, like if a line read was done after like 27 takes, or
Mm-hmm.
was it really like difficult to get?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think for a lot of us, often we only like do 3 takes of a line.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, yeah, like for most of the lines, how we did them then is probably how I do them now, because it's
Yeah.
more the idea of what that character sounds like in that scenario than
Mm-hmm.
any
Mm-hmm.
particular read. But of
Mm-hmm.
course, sometimes if there's a really crucial moment, you'll work on it a bit to make sure that it's perfectly conveying the emotion. But
Ex
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I saw for a moment for the third Cartethyia line with "Where I'm Your Blade," you had
Mhm.
to take a moment
Yeah.
and just to kind of like let it sink in. And but just being able to do all these lines with different moments and intentions and everything is just so amazing. That was so good.
I
Thank you
mean,
so much for doing that. Yeah.
of course, and I think it helps obviously if you've worked on a character for a while, it's a lot easier to go back into that just cold. Um,
Mm.
but I think, yeah, for me, I'm definitely like if there was a camera in the booth with me, I'm definitely someone like my face has to change. Like I'm a full body
Hmm.
performer. Like I can't just like, and you can hear it in the voice. Like if you're smiling in the voice, like you're smiling in real life, and I kind of have to. And I notice that as Cartethyia, I smile a lot more because that
Mm.
is her disposition. And as Fleurdelys, I smile less. Uh,
Yeah.
so I just think for me, I kind of have to do the whole physicality
Yeah.
because, but I think that's how all voice actors kind of like, because the voice is so connected to the body.
Hmm.
If you're hunched over, it's hard to get a very powerful sound. So if you are
Mm.
doing, big combat lines like Fleur de Lisis, you kind of have to
Yeah.
stand tall and like really get that weight behind you, because
Ah.
otherwise it's just going to be like,
Yeah. Yeah. Purge all evil. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's like, oh, fragile evil. And it doesn't work. So certainly for me, it's like you need to ground yourself because she would be grounded. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and in recording sessions, I'm sure I'm just doing all these like weird things. I know for combat efforts, again, everyone's process is different, but like I can't just be
Mhm.
like, huh, huh, huh. I have to be like, huh, I do the thing.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right. Amanda, thank you so much for just your performances like in the game. I'm sure fans like just loved everything you've done. Thank you for this interview today
you're
too.
very welcome. I
Yeah,
had a great
Amanda.
time.
Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye out for your roles and your streams too. Thank you so much today.
Thank you.
Yeah, you take care, okay?
And you.
Yeah, take care. Bye.